Although most of us don't ever look all that decent in our driver's license photos. That just doesn't, it's like, hi, I'm here to pay $70 so that you can take the worst picture of me ever. That sounds like a good plan, right? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you very much. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I was going to do something else and I may do that later on. So I have to go get my driver's license renewed today, and I don't want this to look like a mugshot, and so I'm going to put on some makeup. What I hope will look nice in my driver's license photo, because you know how it is. You get one photo and it sticks with you for like a decade. But I think that I was going to play with some of my new ColourPop stuff, that kind of my new makeup by Yolando, that's all really colorful stuff. And I think for a driver's license, I don't know if it's more appropriate or anything, but I just think it makes more sense to do something more neutral. And I love neutral looks. I do. As much as I do colorful stuff here, I like neutral stuff as well. I'm going to use the ColourPop Night Owl palette today. I think you can still get this, but I picked this because it's a nice, brown palette. There's lots of pretty browns in it, some warm ones, some cool ones. I'm going to pull in probably a dark brown from another palette, because the darkest brown in here, this one right here in the corner, is a satin, and so I don't really want to use that to deepen up my outer corner necessarily. So I will probably pull in a dark brown from either another ColourPop palette, maybe my Rust palette from Melt. I'm not sure. Anyway, I just thought, it'd be kind of interesting to film this look, or what I decide on doing for a driver's license picture, because yeah, this is going to stick with me for a while. So, I want to look decent, right? Anyway, we're going to get started. I've got my eyes primed, and I think I am just going to jump into the color Bel Air, which is this nice sort of mid-tone color right here. And we're going to put that in the crease to begin. So I'm going to take the color Bel Air and I'm just going to put that in my crease here. And I'm going to keep it relatively simple, I think, but I do want to look like I have makeup on, because I usually have makeup on when I, go out, and there's the possibility of me having to show my driver's license, which honestly, the older you get, is less and less likely. So it's like when you come across somebody who's like, can I see your ID please, when you're trying to buy a beer or something, you're like, bless your heart, I'm going to take you home and make you a meal and give you a comfy place to sleep. So this is a nice palette. I feel like, it's a good idea to keep things relatively simple when you have to have, passport picture taken, or a driver's license picture taken, anything like that. There's not really that much point in going to a lot of effort to put on glitter and like something super exotic and whatever, because it doesn't usually show up that well in a picture like that, I don't think. It's not like it's an artistic picture, where you get to do the pretty angles and everything. It's just not that kind of situation. I'm going to go into the color Rule the Roost, which is a little bit more of a warm color. It has a little bit more of a golden undertone to it. I should have probably put a little bit more primer on my lid right here, because for whatever reason, probably from tweezing my eyebrows, I'm a little irritated looking there. And who doesn't want that, right? Who doesn't want like a giant zit or a rash or whatever on their face when they're going to do something like this? But I literally am down to the wire as far as grace period goes, and so it has to be done. I'm going to pick up a slightly smaller brush, and I'm going to go into the color Rockin' Robin. It's this sort of darkish rusty brown, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that on a tapered brush, and I'm going to keep this really in the crease, just to add a little bit of depth there. I like this palette. I was actually looking for another ColourPop palette that I like, that I've even mentioned before, used before on my channel, but for some reason I can't find it, and right now I can't even fucking remember what it's called. Like, that's pathetic. You should be able to remember stuff like that. So I'm going to take my Rust Melt palette, my Melt Rust palette, whatever, and I'm going to go into this darkest shade right here, which is a fantastic dark brown, and just the thing I want for deepening up this corner. It's so dark that it's darn near black, but it's not black. And this is my favorite kind of dark brown, really my favorite kind of outer corner deepening up shade, because it's neutral enough that it seems like it works with a lot of things. All right, that should be good enough, I think. I am going to wear lashes, although I'm not going to wear anything like super, you know, dramatic or whatever, I don't think. Mostly I'm going to do a winged lash, just to add, just because I like the way it looks. I'm just taking a clean brush and making sure that's reasonably blended. At least here in Washington, driver's license pictures are not super close, and so I'm not too worried about, you know, my blending job or whatever, but you know, I'm going to make some effort here. So I think that should do. I'm going to take a flat shader brush, and I'm going to spray this because I do want it to stay put. I think I'm going to go in with, so we're going to pick up Millie first. I hope this palette is still available, because I do think it's really nice, a nice palette. So I'm just going to put that on my lid, mostly all over, maybe not completely all over. And I'll go back into that color that I used from the Melt Rust palette and just make sure that everything is, you know, smushed together good. All right, I feel like that's nice. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of that lighter shade and just put it right here in the center, just for a little something something. I don't necessarily think that this is going to, you know, show up or whatever in my photo, but we'll go ahead and do a little bit of that. And let's see, I'm just going to take this brush right here and just kind of go back and forth in that crease, just to make sure that things are blended together a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that darkest color. So I think that's nice. I think it's a, you know, it's definitely a smoky eye kind of situation here, but that's all right. I do that a lot, so it feels natural to me to, you know, wear this kind of stuff for my driver's license photo. We'll see. If it turns out all right, I'll let you know. If it doesn't, you will never hear about this again. I don't think I'm going to do a winged liner today, because if you do winged liner at all, you know how sideways it can go, and I don't have time for that. So I don't think I'm going to do that, but I am going to wear a pair of winged lashes like I mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and line my top lash line. This is the L'Oreal, I think it's the Extra Intense Liquid Pencil Eyeliner, whatever. I don't even know if they still make this. All I know is it's a dark brown and it's relatively decent. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that. I could have totally done this with some shadow, but I didn't. I've got my pencil here, and then I can just go in and tight line with this as well. All right, so I've got my tight line drawn in and a little bit of liner on. Against my better judgment, I'm not going to put sunscreen on, because I know that they use a flash and I don't want any weirdness. So I'm not going to put on sunscreen, even though it's really warm today and it's sunny and everything. I'm just gonna deal. But I think I am going to use the newish, at least new to me, and I just reviewed this on my channel. I think I'm going to use the Amazonian Clay foundation from Tarte. Yesterday I used, for my red Cherry Crush ColourPop look, I went in with the Wet n Wild Glass Correct, and I kind of liked that. It feels basically like a moisturizer. It's supposed to be color correcting, has the tiniest bit of a green tint to it, and I think it will add enough glow or moisture or whatever, because this feels very moisturizer like, to this foundation, which is very, very matte. I mean, it's a soft matte, but it's very matte. I didn't want a really dewy look or anything. I just don't know if that is gonna work. The last time I had my driver's license picture taken was before I really got into like YouTube, watching YouTube for sure, and expanding my knowledge of products and stuff. And so it's fine. It's a fine picture. I look a little pissed, but then, you know, resting bitch face, that's me. But anyway, I think that this will add enough sort of glow to this foundation. I'm still testing this. I haven't decided, you know, exactly how I feel about it, but it seems pretty nice. Again, I'll link that video up above if I remember, but it's a very sort of moussey texture here. So I'm going to go in with my Zoeva brush, and we're going to use that today. And I'm not going to worry too much about, like, does this look makeup-y or whatever, because usually if you're going for a picture and stuff, I don't know, it seems like it's better to do a little bit more of your base products. The circumstances are different when you go in for a picture like this than they are if you're, you know, going to a party or going out to lunch or going to church or, you know, whatever. You know, everything is very, at least for me, I feel like is very situational. And so I don't mind it looking a little more makeup-y close up, as long as the picture looks decent. And hopefully it will. I'm not going to do like a ton of contouring and you know, like super exotic stuff. I don't usually do that much of that kind of thing. I do some because it's fun and I like the way it looks, but I also know that it can go wrong. And I don't have time for that. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to have to worry about it. So I feel like I am not centered. I'm not. There, is that better? Yep, we're centered. Okay, so I took out way too much product here. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up under my eyes a little bit. I'm gonna try to get away with no concealer today. I don't really feel like I need it, but we'll see. We'll see how it all looks. I am wearing a black tank top, but I'm gonna wear like a little cardigan sweater thing over it because I don't want to have a picture that's got this much skin showing. I do like the coverage that this has. This is a full coverage foundation, so if that's not your jam, you're probably not gonna like it. All right, so I think that's okay. Let me wipe off the excess here. This is definitely one of those foundations that, you know, it's buildable, I think, and so go in with less than you think you're gonna need, because you can always add more, but it is a little bit of a challenge to take away. So I'm just gonna go over this with my sponge to make sure everything's blended and smoothed out and all of that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and set with powder. So I think I'm gonna go in with my Fenty Beauty bronzer. This is the color Into Sun. This is not the time, I don't feel, to experiment because, you know, I mean, things can go wrong. I mean, definitely things can go wrong, and I don't know, experimenting with something like this is just not my idea of a good idea. So I am going to go in with tried and true favorites, you know, and if it turns out poorly, the picture, whatever, I'm not happy with it, I guess you can have other ones taken, or, you know, have them take it again or whatever. It's not the end of the world, but I do want to bronze up my face a little because that foundation is just a touch light for me, just a little bit, not bad. I feel like I can fix it with bronzer, and so that is what I am doing. This is definitely a favorite product of mine. I love the cream one as well, but because it's kind of hot here today, or it's kind of warm and sunny and pretty sure I'm gonna sweat, I am going to not use any cream products today, just for the sake of keeping things a little bit more matte. I keep meaning to go and pick this bronzer up in a slightly darker color, and I keep forgetting to do it, and so we're gonna make my winter shade work in the summer. For my blush, I think I'm gonna go in with the Jouer blush duo. This is in the one that's called Darling. I've used this a lot on my channel, but again, I like this blush. I can rely on it to look nice, and so that's why I am using it today. It's got some pigment to it, but it's not too much, so I think it should look nice. For all the hot water that Hourglass is in right now, I'm going to go in with the Ambient Lighting palette for my highlighter, and I'm just dragging this across all of the colors because my middle one, which is the one that I use the most, of course, broke, and so I lost some of that, but I like all the colors. I do. I just don't think that they're like a super glowy highlight. This is the one that's, I think they have one that is, what is that called? They have one that's more glowy than this, but I'm not using that today. I'm just going to use this guy. I don't even have the other one. I don't know what I'm talking about. Because I want a little bit of a highlight, but I don't want too much. We're not going clubbing, we're going to the DMV. Let me put a little bit of something on my lips before they dry up and blow away. I'm just going to use, let's see, this is the color Dazzling Dough. This is one of the L'Oreal sort of glossy ones, and I like this color. It's neutral. I've got multiples of it because it's one of those ones that I carry in my purse. I'm going to go ahead and finish off my brows and put my lashes on and stuff, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little more. I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, I'm back. I've got the rest of my face on as promised. I put on some sort of winged style lashes. They're, you know, they're not super dramatic, and so I think they will be okay. For my hair, you know, I just did what I usually do. I didn't really want to wear it up in a bun, which I do a lot, but so I just curled it and wore it in the usual way. And I guess if I was going to give any kind of tip at all for having a new photo for your driver's license taken or your passport or whatever, not that I have a lot of experience or any kind of professional insight on this, because I really don't, but I would say, you know, a day that you're going to have a picture like that taken is not the day to experiment with new products or new shapes or new colors or anything like that. It's definitely a good time to do something that you're super comfortable with. So if you wear minimal makeup, don't go full glam. And by the same token, if you are a full glam everyday kind of girl, put something on, just because that will feel more like you. And I think whatever we do that makes us feel good, feel confident, anything like that is going to be a good thing and translate in a picture. So if you go in and you're half awake and you're hungover and you don't have anything on your face and your hair's up in a messy bun, you're not going to like the picture that they take, most likely, because you're not kind of in the moment. That's just my thinking on it. We'll see how today goes. I may get the worst driver's license picture ever, It's not the end of the world, you know, and it's just a driver's license. If you hate it, you can have it done over, I think, at least most places. But I have no intention of doing that because really I only want to go to the DMV once a decade. And I expect that most people feel that way. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. I don't think I put anything unusual on the rest of my face, the usual brow products and that kind of stuff. I will list everything down below as I always do. I think I mentioned almost everything that I put on my face today. So yeah, this was not really about the product so much as doing something that is relatively neutral, still feels like me, still makes me feel pretty, confident, all of those things, which I think are really important when you go into a place like this that is not all that fun, but you got to do it. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I hope you will give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content or any of the other stuff that I do, colorful stuff, new product try-ons, any of that kind of thing, you might be in the right place, and I encourage you to subscribe. Until my next video, bye guys.